Well, hey folks, Real Honesty with Jim Ritland's Rapid Fire episode 67. Got some wrestling news and rumors to talk about, and I also want to announce that from now on, unless the topics warrant them, and unless it's like breaking news, I'm going to try to keep all these rapid fire videos under 20 minutes. You guys have limited time, and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to watch any video, whether it's one or every single video that I'm doing and have done in the past, whether it's myself, co-hosted by the Durbinator, or just solo videos done by the Durbinator. Check out his NXT reviews, by the way. Just thank you guys, and I'm going to try to keep these shorter. So get my points out without going off on too many tangents, unless a rant is warranted. So let's get cracking on with my thoughts on the Ring of Honor New Japan co-branded show at Madison Square Garden the night of TakeOver, right before WrestleMania 35. Now, this was announced a few weeks ago and everything, and I'm certainly not going to want to make it sound like I'm breaking news. For those of you who don't know, they're going to do a co-branded show. Ring of Honor and New Japan have a working agreement, and they'll do some co-branded shows sometimes. New Japan did some shows where Ring of Honor talents came over, and it was Honor Rising Night 1 and 2 back in February of this year. Those are really fun, and I will actually put a playlist for the New Japan reviews in the description and everything. I will really have a lot of fun continuing to review New Japan. Thank you guys for making those reviews so popular. But I've really enjoyed the few Ring of Honor New Japan co-branded shows I've been able to see, and the fact that Vince wants to run shows cheaper and not run in Madison Square Garden. I think he's run house shows there, but the last show I remember him running that was on TV, I think it was actually a pay-per-view. The last TV, it was a Raw, right before Survivor Series 09. And then there was Survivor Series 2011, where it featured The Rock's return to the ring. So, of course, they were able to do that, and they were able to justify paying the price for the Madison Square Garden. But Vince wants to run cheap. If more companies can do this kind of stuff, apparently Cody and the Young Bucks, and I believe anybody else involved with All In, may want to run All In 2, Electric Boogaloo, at Madison Square Garden at some point, either this year or sometime next year. I'm all for it. If more companies can get into bigger venues like that, really not just stick it to Vince, but grow their brand, I am for it. The more flourishing companies we have, whether it's an indie promotion like Defy Northwest that I'm going to be going to in August, and that was really fun. I actually went to a show just earlier this month, which was a blast. And by the way, support your local indie wrestling, whether it's on TV or not. Support it, go to it, have fun. I'm all for it, and I hope that Ring of Honor New Japan can deliver a banger product. I don't know if I'm going to be able to watch it, though, because I know TakeOver at the time it's going to be happening roughly at the same time. I mean, if it happens a little bit later in the night, I might be able to go watch it, but I don't know. Honestly, I'll probably just have to watch TakeOver. But hopefully anybody that is watching the Ring of Honor New Japan MSG show really enjoys it. And there we go. That's my thoughts on it. I really hope that the show succeeds, and then more places can run in venues like Madison Square Garden, and really give Vince a little bit like nerves. Even though I don't think Vince is going to get too nervous, still people running in his home, the home that pretty much saved his father's brand and helped his brand grow. He might want to start paying attention to this kind of stuff, which leads to WWE wanting New Japan talents like Juice Robinson. Now, the bottom line is Kenny Omega, Young Bucks, Juice Robinson, anybody that they want to bring in, they should be able to go where they want to go. If they want to go to WWE and earn that big money, or bigger money than they're even getting, fine. Good for them. I wouldn't want Omega to go there. I wouldn't want the Bucks to go there. Even though I'm not a big fan of the Young Bucks, I admire the fact that they've been able to basically create their own brand and do some great things on the indies and get great merch money and do their brand of tag team wrestling, which is not my favorite, though. Their match with the Golden Lovers, Kota Ibushi and Kenny Omega at Strong Style Evolved earlier this year, was a blast of a match and is actually on my favorite matches of the year list. And I'm, again, not the biggest fan of the Young Bucks. I put over when they put some good psychology in their matches. They shouldn't want to go there. They're making really, really good money. They're doing as good as they can. And able to work a lighter schedule. That's the thing, is also the fact that Vince hates tag team wrestling. The Bucks will be working 5-minute matches with either the Revival or Usos. I mean, Young Bucks versus the Usos might sound good on paper. In WWE, I don't know about that. I would almost prefer to see a New Japan WWE cross promotion, which I actually did a fancy booking about WWE versus New Japan, which was a blast to do. But going mainly to the Juice Robinson thing, because I talk about Omega and the Bucks, and they can do what they want to do, but I don't believe they're going to go to WWE. Juice Robinson was treated like a jobber for pretty much his entire run in WWE. Anytime he captured tag titles, whether it was in Florida Championship Wrestling or NXT, he was generally treated like a jobber. Anytime he go on a win streak, he was treated like a jobber right after that. He left, worked on the Indies, went to New Japan, has really grown his brand, grown his character, become a tremendous talent in the ring. He is current IWGP Heavyweight Champion. If he goes back there, people could say, oh, well, look at Drew McIntyre. Look what Drew McIntyre did when he went back. He left and then came back. And then, oh, look what, Jinder Mahal did. I mean, I don't want to say Jinder Mahal is the worst example in the world, but he was a terrible WWE champion, in part because of booking, in part because he wasn't very good. But yeah, he transformed his physique, however he did that. Not going to throw stones here, but however he did that. But Drew is like an example of like somebody who transformed how he was and went out and earned his keep on the Indies and Impact Wrestling. He had a pretty good stay there. And then came back to WWE and now is treated like a big deal. Juice would not be the same. Juice is perfect where he is. And I'm not saying he never needs to go back to WWE, but they would treat him like a jobber again. It's just about WWE wanting to hoard all the toys, like a kid, like the bully at daycare, hoard all the toys, not so he can play with them, but just so others can't have them. That's basically what Vince is doing. That is my personal opinion on what WWE is doing. I'll go into another rant at some point. A real honest rant probably about the WWE product being much like WCW, where they're just hoarding everybody so no one else can have them and not utilizing people right. So no, I do not believe the Juice should go back to WWE. I don't believe Omega and the Young Bucks should go there. Do I blame WWE for wanting to go after New Japan talent? No. If they want to go for more stars, that's fine, but they already aren't using that many people anyway. Why in the world would people not look, that are in another company not look and think, maybe I shouldn't go there? I mean, Matt Riddle apparently may be going to WWE. Okay, whatever. Matt Riddle's not everybody's cup of tea, but the guy's a hell of an athlete, has a unique style, and if he can succeed in WWE, he's probably going to succeed more in NXT. Sure, all for it. All the best of the guy. Now, on the flip side, New Japan wants some WWE stars, including guys that they had. There are certain talents that they had that are going to be in New Japan. That is, their contracts are going to be up at some point in early 2019, either right before or right after the Rumble, depending on when they were actually signed and how long they're extended for. Nakamura is somebody that they're interested in. If Nakamura wants to go back, I don't blame him. He was used as a pretty big deal in NXT for the first 6 months or so, and he was a two-time NXT champion, but neither of his runs were particularly that good. They just weren't. I mean, his feud with Samoa Joe was fine. And then his feud with Bobby Roode was okay. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. But since coming to the main roster, just over a year ago, they kind of hyped him up, pretty good. And then he wasn't really used all that well. And then got jobbed out to Jinder Mahal in 2 straight pay-per-view matches. Absolutely fucking ridiculous. When Nakamura, even in his state where maybe he's not the best that he was because of age and all that stuff, is still leagues better than Jinder Mahal. Had a job out to him, that was ridiculous. And now he won the Royal Rumble, but then lost to AJ Styles at WrestleMania, and then lost to him on about 10,000 other pay-per-views. I think it was only 3 or 4, but still. The fact that he lost that many straight times, and then now finally is U.S. champion, I don't think he needs to stick around. Now, if he is happy in WWE and they are happy with him and they want to re-sign him for big money and he wants to continue to stay there, great. Would I like to see him back in New Japan? Absolutely. He will never be above an Intercontinental title reign, which pretty much describes the last couple of years of his run, as far as I can recall, his New Japan run, that is, before he went to WWE. If Nakamura wants to go back, great. If he wants to stay in WWE, great. I'd love to see him back in New Japan, because I think he could have some fresh matches, because it's the old Cornette thing. How can I miss you if you won't go away? That would be pretty interesting to see if Nakamura wanted to come back. But it's up to him ultimately. I think he's the most likely to go back. And then there's Gallows and Anderson. I'm going to say right now, though, with AJ Styles. AJ Styles is staying in WWE. Unless he suddenly just says, I want to bolt, he's the one that they're going to lock down out of all 4 of them. Even at 41, I think 42, I think he's gonna be 42 soon. He is still a top tier performer. And him having another 3-year deal, he could wrestle till about 45. Now, I don't think he's going to wrestle much past, let's see, that next contract could take him to 2022. And he might sign an extension, just go to that WrestleMania. After that, I don't think he's going to be wrestling. So that'd be 35, 36, 37. WrestleMania 37, 38, I think he's about to retire. And if he wanted to have one more little run in Japan or whatever, that's okay. But I think he's home where I think this is going to be his home for the rest of his life, for the rest of his wrestling career. Because he earned it. And I'm not saying that Nakamura didn't earn it. I'm not saying Gallows and Anderson didn't earn it with their hard work. But AJ Styles is the one they're going to really try to keep. And then Nakamura right below him. Gallows and Anderson, if they wanted to bolt back to Japan, I don't know what they're getting paid. I don't really care. That's none of my business. I know AJ's getting paid big money. I'm sure Nakamura is getting paid big money. I'm sure Gallows and Anderson are getting paid some big money. They've been so marginalized since showing up. They tried to help AJ Styles, capture the title from Roman Reigns during Roman Reigns' WWE title run of like I think his reign of 3 months, 2.5 months, something like that. In 2 pretty good matches, honestly. I believe it was Extreme Rules and Payback. And maybe not in that order. They were good matches, but it's just, since then, they didn't really do anything. They helped beat up John Cena, and then they were kind of whatever once the brand split happened. They captured the tag titles at one point, held them for a couple months, lost them at WrestleMania 33, and then have been in purgatory pretty much ever since. If they want to go back to Japan, great. If they get enough money thrown at them and are happy in WWE, okay. But if they want to go back to Japan, I would be all for them going back to Japan. But AJ's the one that's not going to be going back. There's no way. I mean, unless he really wants to, but I just can't see WWE letting him get away. And now let's go to the women's pay-per-view. The main reason this is happening, beyond the fact that WWE finally recognizes, hey, all these women are really fucking talented, and we can bring some past women in, we can use some NXT call-ups, and have 50 women on the show. Great. Stephanie should not be on the show. Unfortunately, she's probably going to be on commentary. It's a terrible idea, because she was terrible on the Royal Rumble commentary. As long as they have good champions going into it, Carmella should not be champion going into it. She may be, I don't know. Alexa will not be champion going into it. She could be into September, but not going to be by the pay-per-view. They're going to want Rousey to be champion. Baszler will probably still be champion. If they have all 3 of these champions featured, and they introduce women's tag team titles, if they're going to, great. And the Mae Young Classic finals, or Mae Young Classic 2, not Electric Boogaloo, are going to be, the finals are going to be featured on this pay-per-view. I'm all for it. The problem is, it's just a smokescreen for the fact, hey, ladies, you couldn't participate in the Greatest Royal Rumble in April, and we're going back to Saudi Arabia in November, the next month. So here's your pay-per-view. It's pretty damn transparent. That's not to say that the women haven't worked hard, and I hope the women's pay-per-view succeeds. But let's not act like WWE isn't just doing this because they're taking a whole bunch of money from a country that still doesn't respect women, despite some progression, and doesn't respect, gay, lesbian people. Anybody of the LGBTQ community? Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. Is it LGBT? Is it LGBTQ? Which one is preferred? But the whole point is that this is basically just to make up for the Saudi Arabia show. But that's not to say that the women haven't earned it. So I hope the pay-per-view succeeds. They need to bring some past women back. Trish, Lita, they're going to have, hopefully, Beth Phoenix. Unless her and Edge are going to have another kid. I don't know. I don't keep up on that. Gail Kim will not be there. She says that, she was burned by the company and she's happy where she is. That's fair. And she should be able to do that if she wants. Sure, it takes away the whole thing of possibly Awesome Kong versus Gail Kim on a WWE stage, but I think Awesome Kong is even not really wrestling all that much. Bottom line is, Evolution pay-per-view should be fun. Really quickly, and I will answer this, myself and the Durbinator are going to be doing a live stream at some point. If not this coming weekend, we are going to be doing it at some point. It'll be a video. We'll be playing video games and answering questions and stuff like that. I've been asked if I'm going to give Impact another chance. No, I've been burned by Impact too damn much. But I wish them the best. If this rebranding, this rebuilding works, and they can succeed, and they can start drawing big crowds again, great. And if you guys watching this love Impact Wrestling, fantastic. I love it. I hope the brand succeeds. But I also have limited time due to a full-time job, some side projects that I have, and also reviewing New Japan and WWE. And those are getting some really great views, including especially my New Japan reviews. I have no time to devote to another company. But always I keep up on Impact when I can, and I wish them the best. And I will also have a top 10 at some point, about the 10 best things that Impact Wrestling did from 2004 to 2009. And I'm going to do sections of years and that kind of stuff, pretty much until I've stopped watching full-time in about 2015, 2016, somewhere around there. But again, I wish them all the best. That's what I'm going to say. And now, finally, my final thoughts on SummerSlam as the card stands right now. I have no interest in Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. I hope the crowd walks out. I don't know if they will. I don't even think a Braun Cash-In is going to keep a lot of the crowd in there. I think a lot of the crowd is going to leave because there's just no interest in this match. A lot of people, the vast majority of people are burned out by this shit. And what it is it's Vince saying, okay, well, I'm going to keep the title on Brock until you cheer Roman. People that cheer Roman are going to cheer him. People that don't like Roman are not going to cheer him. I hate Roman the character. I don't care for Roman the character, but I do not hate Roman the man. That is the unfortunate thing that some people get a little lost with. Like some people that are on YouTube that seem to think that I'm their buddy when, no, you seem to have this delusion about me. There are some cool people whose YouTube channels I follow, and you guys are my friends, and I really do appreciate it. I'm not talking about you guys. I'm talking about people with delusions. Jeremy8911, you know who I'm talking about. Shout out to you, by the way, for your great wrestling ideas that you either tag me in or just post. Keep doing that. You give up some good fantasy booking ideas. Just wanted to let you know that. I have no interest really in Rollins versus Ziggler unless they suddenly add Drew and, like somebody else, Elias. Is Elias injured? Well, I mean, I know he's promoting his album, but they probably should put him in there. Have a multi-man elimination match for the IC title. Get people on the card and have some fun. Styles versus Joe should be good, but after being burned by how they did Nakamura versus Styles, I'm going to reserve judgment. It's not going to be like their Impact Wrestling matches, which were tremendous, by the way, and I recommend you go and check those out. Especially the Unbreakable 3-Way that Styles, Joe, and Christopher Daniels had. That was fantastic. It was the only Unbreakable main event, well, actually, Unbreakable pay-per-view they had. And it was great. I think it was before it was replaced by No Surrender in September. But anyway, No Surrender September, No September Surrender. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. I have no interest in Carmella versus Becky unless Becky wins because the title needs to go on somebody that's credible. Alexa versus Rousey could be fun. The bottom line is, though, is SummerSlam's already starting. Now, mind you, we're still a few weeks away. As I'm recording this the 27th of July. So it's still a few weeks away. They have a chance to hype the whole thing, but they're going to have to put on a tremendous undercard underneath because the vast majority of people are not going to care about Reigns versus Lesnar again. They aren't. It's just not going to be interesting. I hope I'm wrong about SummerSlam. I'm not going to go off on too many rants. I'll save those for the Raw and SmackDown reviews, and especially for the SummerSlam review. If SummerSlam is a bad show, I'm just going to warn you guys, I'm going to go apeshit, and I know you guys love when I go apeshit. So anyway, that's what I got to say about these topics. What do you guys think about these topics? And what are some topics you want me to talk about that are relevant? Maybe I will do another rapid fire at some point, but mind you, I'm probably not going to be able to do one until next week. Anyway, like, share, comment, subscribe. Twitter link in the description. It's been Real Aussie with John Ritlin, and I will see you soon.